I think we are all united that attempts to attack a vulnerable community are not only mean-spirited, but really an attempt to misdirect. Because every single time we hear the incoming administration or Republicans in Congress talk about any vulnerable group in this country, we have to be clear that it is an attempt to distract. It is an attempt to distract from what they are actually doing. Every single time we hear them say the word trans, look what they're doing with their right hand. Look at what they're doing to pick the pocket of American workers, to fleece seniors by privatizing Social Security and Medicare. Look what they're doing undermining workers. And here's also what we have to be clear about, because I think the last week has been a prime example of this. Every bit of time and energy that is used to divert the attention of the federal government to go after trans people is time and energy that is not focused on addressing the cost of living.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So Sarah McBride, formerly known as Tim, was actually named Forbes Woman to Watch. So McBride is described by Forbes as bringing a new perspective and lived experience to the halls of Congress. So Delaware's at-large representative won a statewide contest against Republican opponent John Whalen. The Democrat is the first openly transgender member of Congress whose leadership ensures that for the next 2 years, at least one member of the transgender community will be able to vote on the rapidly increasing number of anti-trans bills. 87 at the federal level in 2024, up from 53 in 2023. McBride is also known for clashing with Representative Nancy Mace, who sought to introduce bathroom bills that protected women's spaces, that ensured that males were kept out of women's bathrooms in all federal buildings. First, it started off in the Capitol.
I will not be bullied into silence. I will not back down. And in fact, I'm going to double down on this. And I'm going to file even more legislation to protect women beyond the Capitol, across every state in the nation. Because the simple question is, do women have rights or not? It's a very simple question.
Now, Rep-elect Sarah McBride responded to your resolution saying this is a blatant attempt from far right-wing extremists to distract from the fact they have no real solutions to what Americans are facing. We should be focused on bringing down the cost of housing, health care, child care, not manufacturing culture wars. Your response?
This is not manufactured. This is a person who's threatened to come into women's private spaces, and I'm a survivor of violence and abuse, and I know how deeply vulnerable women are in places where we feel we have a right to privacy. And this is not okay. If you're a biological man, if you're born a man, you use the men's restroom. You don't invade our privacy. You don't come into women's private spaces. This is not a thing.
To be fair, McBride did agree to use the bathroom that falls in line with the rules and basically said, I'm not going to be arguing over bathrooms. However, this is after this person took selfies in the women's bathroom bragging about doing such a thing, which is something that women simply never do. You will never catch a female standing in a women's bathroom and bragging about using the bathroom. McBride has been accused of the G word, a very serious word that involves children.
Sarah McBride from the Human Rights Campaign here. HRC is organizing a national I Am Jazz Day of Reading in schools and communities across the country. I'm really excited to have the co-authors of I Am Jazz here with me, Jazz Jennings and Jessica Herthel, to answer a couple questions. So I'm really curious why you decided to write this book.
When it came to this book, we wanted to aim it not towards just transgender kids, but to any kid who feels different, because it shows that you just have to be yourself and do what you love to do and just be happy and proud of who you are.
You know, I get asked all the time why I, as a cisgender, straight mother of three, seemingly cisgender, straight girl, wrote this book. And I always say that as a parent, I wanted my kids to be allies. I didn't want them to grow up to be jerks.
Because recently, this person was at a reading of I Am Jazz, a book about Jazz Jennings, who is male, who was transitioned at a very young age.
At just 11 years old, she has taken what most children and their families would regard as a terrible secret and brought it smashing into the open. She is the brave and beautiful new face of a child born in the wrong body.
I have a girl brain and a boy body.
Hi.
When we first met Jazz in 2007, she was only 6 years old and one of the youngest documented cases of an early transition from male to female.
We'll say things like, God made you special, because there aren't very many little girls out there that have a penis.
Jazz was put on puberty blockers, was put on cross-sex hormones. Under the age of 18, had bottom surgery and had all sorts of complications from such surgery. Had multiple surgeries to correct said complications. In my opinion, Jazz's story should actually deter young people from going down that path. But Jazz is put forward as the poster child of gender ideology. Jazz is used to normalize this whole concept of being born in the wrong body, of children being told that they are born in the wrong body. And one of the people who are at the forefront of telling children this lie is Sarah McBride, teaching children that they can be born in the wrong body and that it's perfectly normal.
So I am going to read you I Am Jazz by Jessica Herthel and Jazz Jennings. I have a girl brain, but a boy body. This is called transgender. I was born this way. Then, one amazing day, everything changed. Mom and Dad took me to meet a new doctor who asked me lots and lots of questions. Afterward, the doctor spoke to my parents and I heard the word transgender for the very first time. Mom and Dad told me I could start wearing girl clothes to school and growing my hair long. They even let me change my name to Jazz. I don't mind being different. Different is special. But can I tell you what I like most about this book? I like most the story and the message because I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Is that okay? So, I'm like Jazz. When I was born, the doctors and my parents, they all thought that I was a boy. But why? Well, because society, people around them told them that was the case. But it took me getting a little bit older to be able to say that in my heart and in my mind, I knew I was really a girl. And I was very lucky, like Jazz, to have parents who love me and say that I can be whoever I want to be. So I was finally able to be myself.
This is nothing but indoctrination. There is no other way of looking at it. Everything that McBride came out with there has no scientific basis. Telling children that you could have a girl brain but be born in a male body, there's no scientific basis for that whatsoever. But what McBride is doing is trying to normalize men dressing up as women, going into the women's bathroom. This member of Congress is trying to normalize socially transitioning, giving kids new names, using the wrong pronouns to refer to a little boy or to refer to a little girl. So this person is formerly Tim McBride.
My name is Tim McBride. I'm the student body president at American University. I'm proud to join over 100 other student body presidents to sign this letter and send the message to the president and congressional leaders that bold action is required and required now. Our economic recovery and our long-term fiscal stability are far too important to be subject to partisan political point scoring. I'm signing this letter because it's time for this generation of leaders to show the next that Washington can still work together for the common good and that elected officials still have our best interests at heart.
Jazz didn't consent to being transitioned and being put on medication that would permanently alter the body, that would ensure that your reproductive organs don't develop properly. Jazz didn't consent to any of that because Jazz was a child, 5 years old? On national TV talking about being in the wrong body? Jazz didn't have informed consent either when it came to the complications that could occur. Complications that even the doctors were surprised about, that they discovered mid-surgery.
Why are you cutting there?
Right here?
Yeah, why?
Because it's scar, Jess. I don't like it.
Yeah, but there's scar everywhere. If you don't have to cut this, why would you cut that? We can just advance it to there.
Jess, let me go.
But it doesn't make any sense. Why do you need to cut that?
Because this is a disfiguring scar.
The complications that come about from not having enough penile tissue to make the makeshift vagina, having to resort to using the colon, part of the colon. No way Jazz could have been aware of all of that as a child, even as an adult.
With her, I'm worried about like her mental well-being and her dilation. The minute she leaves my house, we have a dilation problem.
That is a concern. When you don't have that watchful eye, they tend to go back to old patterns.
I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will. But Jazz is bad, even when I'm home once a day. I will be so mad if she goes away to college and that thing seals up. I will wring her neck. Can you imagine?
Another lie is telling these kids that it's society that put the label of man on this person. It's society that decided incorrectly that this person is a man. No, there's no assign anything, because even before one is born, they can determine whether one is male or female. It's not society's fault. It's because of gender ideology and concepts related to LGBTQ that we have books with explicit material in schools, in elementary schools.
Question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally by his adult family member. So you have incest, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on acceptable for public school? Just I mean, that's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on or the of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, wait, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
So I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You just remembered very specific things.
Joy.
Here's my question.
We're talking about You didn't answer my question.
When you say that is wrong, that should not be allowed in school, you get accused of trying to ban books. You get accused of being anti-LGBT. Hearing people trying to defend the indefensible. So Marjorie Taylor Greene has ruffled a few feathers with the following caption, calling this person the G word and saying that this person is lying to children. God created us in his image, male and female. He created us. No doctor, body mutilation, or lifetime of pharmaceutical drugs will ever change your sex, stroke gender. Congressman Timothy McBride is a child, you see there, and liar. It's Tim McBride, not Sarah. Nancy Mace, as we know, very high profile dispute with this person, said the following: I would never allow Sarah McBride anywhere near my kids. Look how young these kids are. WTF. If I were governor, you can be sure this would never happen in South Carolina schools. Doesn't bear thinking about that this is happening in schools. WTF Congressman Tim McBride pretending to be a woman named Sarah. He read the book I Am Jazz to young children. He tells kids that it's society's fault people thought he was a boy. And because his parents loved him, they let him pretend to be a girl. This sicko needs arresting. And then we have LGBTQ Nation with the headline, Marjorie Taylor Greene rages at Sarah McBride for reading to kids. So this publication is saying the G word refers to manipulative behaviors that the abuser uses to gain access to a potential victim, coerce them to agree to the abuse, and reduce the risk of being caught. According to the anti-sexual violence organization RAINN, the G word has come over the last several years to be used as a slur against LGBTQ plus people, with conservatives using it to insinuate that LGBTQ people are PDF files, S predators, and threats to children. According to the media organization GLAAD, there is no reason to believe that Rep. McBride is the G word or a predator. We should all be against sexualizing children. Every single adult should be against that. But we've justified doing that very thing under the guise of LGBTQ education. Don't go telling kids to doubt that they are male, to doubt that they are female. That's sowing the seeds of confusion in these children. And that is setting them down a path that is riddled with insecurity, that is riddled with not knowing who they are.
I feel kind of all over the place and like my mind is very cluttered and not clear. And I really want to have that clarity. I really want to understand myself and be able to read my own soul and what I want. And it's just very challenging. And I think I'm kind of breaking down a little bit and spiraling into negativity. I just want to feel like myself. Like, that's it. I don't care. All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like me ever.
Don't tell me that this is healthy to be introducing children to these concepts. And it's very disturbing that a member of Congress has a vested interest in doing that very thing. So let me know what you think. Do you think it's an overreaction? Maybe people are reading too much into this? Or do you think that this is something that is absolutely inappropriate and unacceptable in schools? Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.